Hey, Tribute Band Central, welcome to the channel. Have another installment of my interview series. And we are really honored today at Tribute Band Central to have Chris Collins on the channel. He is the John Denver tribute, and I've had the pleasure of seeing him before, and I'm going to be seeing him again. I reached out to see if he'd have a few minutes to talk on the channel, and he was gracious enough to say yes. So, Chris, welcome to the channel. How you doing today?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So let's talk a little bit. First, we'll talk a little bit about the tribute and the Boulder Canyon Band. Um, you guys have been together a long time, as I understand, and you've been doing this. So give us some background and how you got into this.
Well, you have to go back a ways to where I got back into music around the age of 40 and started doing original music. Went to the Kerrville Folk Festival, and every place I went, people kept saying, "You look like John Denver. You know any John Denver?" Well, as it turns out, I did because I used to love his music when I was young.
Yeah.
But it took me about 5 or 10 years to finally start a tribute band because I was really focused on my music. But eventually I took the message from the universe and said, okay, I'll do it. So I got invited by a friend to Aspen for the annual John Denver celebrations and met a couple guys who were in my first iteration of the band. And Kevin Del Molino and Mark Cormican, Paul Swanton, were all people that went to the
Mhm.
festival up there. And then through them, I met some other folks. Well, most of those guys are gone now. And through friends of friends, I've recreated the band, and we've got Alex Mitchell on fiddle and guitar, amazing Berklee graduate. We've got Nigel Newton on keyboards, another Berklee School of Music graduate. And then our new bass player for the last 5 years has been Ralph Gordon, and he's been
Mhm.
on like 200 albums. He's just a phenomenal musician. And
Wow.
so it all kind of gelled together like that for us. And we've been in this iteration of the band with Ralph for about 5 years, but with Nigel and Alex for about 7 years. But Alex has been with me for almost 15.
Incredible.
Look at the
Incredible.
old
That's a
man.
long time in this industry.
Yeah, yeah, longer than the Beatles, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I'm going to slip a little story in. I started this channel about 2 months ago, but I had the pleasure of seeing you in Woodstock, Georgia at Mad Life,
Oh,
and
sure. Yeah.
it was a really good show. I had a great time. We'd been to a lot of tribute bands, and it was at that show that I really decided that there's a need for more information out there on YouTube for different bands and seeing some clips and different things. So you were kind of my founding energizer for starting this channel, and I can't thank you enough. When I was at the show, it just it was so real. Your sound, your look, it's just amazing. And I can't thank you enough. And this has been just so fun. I've met so many great people. The musicians are so nice. So I want to thank you. You really helped me out.
Well, thanks for being there.
No problem. It was a great show. So
You know,
let's
it,
talk a little bit about your the some of your original music and maybe your musical background.
sure.
I know that you're well versed in all the string instruments. I mean, so tell us what's going on with that.
Well, basically, I'm a guitar player. I play 6 and 12. I can play a little banjo. I fiddled with some other instruments, but compared to Alex, there's no point in my trying to do leads when you got a guy like him playing in the band. I just lean on Nigel and Alex to take care of all the lead work. In terms of my own music, I still would like to do another album. I did one a few years ago. Um, I still have some creativity that I'd like to let out, but doing the John Denver stuff has been really quite gratifying. I love his music. He's got a big catalog. He's got 240 songs, I believe.
Wow.
And of course, in the tribute shows, we play mostly the hits, the things that people are familiar with and want to hear, but we try to slip some obscure John Denver songs here and there. And we also include a few other people's songs too, which is kind of fun because John Denver loved playing other people's music. So it's not a stretch for us to do some songs that he either covered by other people or that I wished he would have covered by other people. So we do a song by the Beatles. We do oh, what's it called? I drew a blank. Um, Here Comes the Sun
Yep.
as an
I
example.
remember that. You did play that for our show.
And Jimmy Buffett because they were friends. So we throw a Jimmy Buffett song in, and we've been throwing a Johnny Cash song because John Denver and Johnny Cash did a show together. When I say show, like a TV show together.
Yep. And
Um,
actually, I remember that show. I remember watching that show.
yeah, yeah. But I thought it'd be fun if they did Folsom Prison. They instead did Country Roads. So we had John sing Folsom Prison and Johnny Cash sing Country Roads. But
Understood. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's your favorite song to sing? And that's probably putting you a little on this. You can name a couple of them, but is there one that every at a particular at every show you think I'm really ready to go when that one hits?
Poems, Prayers, and Promises, hands down.
Really? Good.
Love the song. I love the range it's in. For my voice, John sang high. John had an incredible range. Um, and being older now, I don't have that very top end that John used to have. So singing songs that are a little deeper, more James Taylor range-ish, uh,
Hmm.
John's music is really nice for me, and I enjoy all of it. We've dropped a couple keys, as did John himself. Later in his career, he lowered the keys for a few songs. But yeah, I mean, Poems, Prayers, and Promises, hands down, has to be my favorite John Denver song. And as it happens, at least at the time the interview was done, that was John Denver's favorite song too.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's going back to your original music is are there any streaming sites right now that my listeners could go to check out?
The best place to hear the music is probably to go to my website, which is johndenvertributeband.com, and you can hear some clips and
Okay.
also purchase it there.
Well,
I don't,
I'll put
I,
a link in the comments. Sorry to
okay.
interrupt you. So if you didn't catch that, we'll have it in the comments. But go
I
ahead.
don't
I'm
really
sorry.
support Spotify or any of the downloading streaming things because they rip off the musicians so much. And as much as I would love for my music to be heard, I don't want a corporation profiting more than the artists do from their music. So I'm a little fussy that way.
No, I fully understand. And those the way the music business has become, I'm with you. I don't like that either. So
Yeah.
I'm in full agreement. So I wanted to bring up one other thing that I learned about during the show. So you started, I believe you said it was kind of during COVID, collecting rocks and stones and
Yeah.
making jewelry. And I wanted to give you a chance to talk a little bit about that. And I know it's available at the shows, and I'm looking forward to getting some pieces for myself and my wife. So,
And it's also at chriscollinscreations.com.
okay.
So people can get it there. Yeah, it was all quite an accident. I have a good friend named Jeff Pine who lives out in California, and he and I have kind of this brotherhood thing going. We love all the same stuff, nature and rocks and adventures and stuff. So we go out and have these wonderful adventures. So we ended up going out into the deserts of New Mexico and Arizona and California and finding really cool rocks and camping out under the stars and just making an adventure of it. And the more I showed people what I had found, the more people said, "Hey, you ought to make jewelry." That led to actually someone from QVC Home Shopping Network contacting me, and they wanted me to do a show, and it didn't pan out because I couldn't make near enough for what they do.
Oh,
So I just sell it at the shows, and it's a lot of fun. I have my own polishers and cab machines and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really fun pastime and hobby, and gives me something to do when we're not out on the road.
very cool. I had checked the website and a lot of great pieces on there. You've got pictures and people that if they can't make your show can purchase it online. So definitely check that out, and I will put a link to that in the
Yeah.
comments also.
And I've made for
I'm going to give
any.
you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'll give you an opportunity to plug any of your upcoming shows, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the one I'm planning on going. But what's coming up that my audience can go see?
I was going to mention something real quick, fun for the audience if they're listening, as bugs are landing in my shirt here. Um, got all kinds of critters out here. I don't know if you can see the background, but this is the back end of my house.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Uh,
You having a tremendous view.
so anyway, Annie Denver has some of my pieces, which is always exciting to me, and we made some pieces for Eva Longoria, which
Oh,
is pretty cool. So yeah, some kind of cool people wear my jewelry. Um,
outstanding.
so I got lost. Your question was,
I
oh,
just I wanted to talk a little bit about upcoming shows. Where can people see you?
we will be at the Holly Theater in Dahlonega, Georgia, and we will also be at the Gem Theater, just a few hours away from that. And that's coming up, I think, maybe August 7th and 8th. But you can go to the website and check out the calendar in case I'm wrong.
No problem. And I'll add I am going to be at the Calhoun, Georgia show. That's the Gem Theater. It is
Theater.
August 9th for that one.
Okay.
And for any of my listeners, if you happen to be there, come down, say hello. I'd love to meet anybody who watches the channel. And I am really, really excited to get to hear you sing again. I really am.
I'm excited to do it. I was hoping we would spend a couple minutes. You asked me earlier how I got into the John Denver thing. I loved his music when I was young, in my late teens, and that was sort of the inspiration to pick up guitar. It wasn't so much that I wanted to be a guitarist as I wanted to have backup so I could sing. And James Taylor, John Denver, Jim Croce, Dan Fogelberg, Seals and Crofts, all those guys, I loved their music. So my impetus to play guitar was because of them. But then as I learned more about John Denver and who he was and the things he sang about, it really struck a chord with me, and I realized how much I felt I had in common with him. And I think a lot of people feel that way, not just artists, but listeners. We feel a real kinship with John Denver. But it wasn't until 1977 when my cousin encouraged me to go to this thing called the Earhart Seminar Training, EST. If you don't know what it is, you can look it up on Google. It was really big back in the 70s. And after I went to it, I listened to a John Denver album and I thought to myself, wait a second, this is about Est. He is singing all the things that I just learned in Est. And sure enough, John Denver had gone to it just before I did, but I did not know it. If you
Wow.
listen to the song Love is Everywhere off the Windsong album,
Hmm.
it's all about Est.
Very
Um,
cool. Very
so when I discovered all this in commonness with him, I even became more interested in who he was and his views on life. And as it turns out, he's quite a humanitarian and did a lot of humanitarian causes. He was part of the World Hunger Project,
cool.
Trees for America, and I think his philanthropy and his generosity of his time really resonated with me. So for me to do his shows isn't just a job in music so I can go make some money. It's truly promoting the things that I loved about John Denver. Yeah, he wasn't perfect. He made some mistakes along the way, as we all do. And, you know, most of us forgive him for that. Maybe Annie holds a few grudges, but I think even Annie loved John Denver dearly, but the relationship had been too damaged at that point for her to continue with it and for her own mental and psychological health. I think she moved on, which was the right thing for her at the time. It broke my heart to see them separate. I have to say that. To me, they were like the perfect couple in my eyes. But when I think about who he was and what he meant to so many people and what he meant to me back in the 70s, he was like an anchor for my thinking. It was like, okay, there's somebody else who thinks like I do, who wants to
Hmm.
be the kind of person that I want to be. And he's using all of his popularity and his stardom to create this environment for other people to feel free in. And I love that about him.
I did too, and I enjoyed his music. Uh, in the 70s, and when I you'd catch him on TV or whatever, the whole it. and the radio play, singing along with the songs, and yeah, it was bright and just good music. And I got to tell you, I've traveled a lot, and I have had the privilege of going to Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany, a couple of times. And I got to tell you, in each of the tents I've been in, at some point the Oompa band will play "Take Me Home, Country Roads," and
Everywhere.
it brings. I mean, it's like one of the top songs. It just killed me. I looked at my brother and I said, "Are they seriously playing John Denver in Germany at a beer festival?" And it was incredible. So yeah,
I
it's
had a friend
worldwide.
who went to Africa and they went out on a safari. They are out in the middle of nowhere and they come across a tribe dressed in loincloths, carrying their spears, doing their hunting, and they got invited by this tribe to sit in around the campfire. What song do they start singing? Country Roads.
Country, incredible. It's
Yeah, crazy.
it is something. It's the when you think about the millions of lives he touched, it was
Yeah.
incredible. And
Yeah, and in reaching out through music as a call it a dignitary or a liaison for America. He went to Russia, he went to China. No one else had done that, but there was something about John that was so non-threatening and so sincere that I think he was just welcomed wherever he went because when you saw John Denver, you really saw the man John Denver. That's who he was, and that was
exactly,
pretty cool.
exactly, exactly. Well, I have one more question for you. And this might be a bit of a tough one because I know how busy your life is. But when I set up this channel, I decided I was going to have one channel or one question I'd ask everyone. So, do you go to any tribute band shows in your off time? And if so, who do you go see? Or are you just
I
too busy?
live I live so remotely. The only chance that I get to see other tribute bands is when we're playing the same theaters as they are. I have a good friend named Tony Kishman who we've done shows together, and Tony Kishman does a really, really good Paul McCartney tribute.
Ah,
Um, his show is called Live and Let Die. And so I've seen Tony, and it was spectacular. As far as other John Denver tribute shows, I've caught little bits and pieces, mostly on YouTube and stuff.
hmm.
Um, you know, and everybody has something to offer. There's there's no point in saying, oh, only this person is the best tribute artist, or only that person sounds the most like John, or whatever. I think that when this thing in Aspen happens on October, I think 5th and 6th this year, at the Wheeler Opera House, there's going to be a lot of tribute people who show up, John Denver tribute people who show up and participate in this. And the way I look at it is each of us carries a little something that's John Denverish. Maybe
Hmm.
a look, maybe the sound of a voice, maybe an attitude, maybe humanitarianism. And when you gather all these different people, including the audience, when you gather all these different people together, you start closing in on the essence of John Denver. And one person alone can't do it. I can't do it. The other guys can't do it all by themselves. But you get us all together, and there's something magical that takes place amongst the
Hmm.
fans and the musicians. And for that moment in time, when you're playing John Denver's music live again and you're in that creative zone, the magic happens.
Wow. I will try to get out there someday. That sounds like an event I would like to see.
Cool.
Very
Not to
cool.
mention
Very
the
cool.
fact that all the things that um, John Denver was acquainted with, the things that he loved, Maroon Bells, Ajax Mountain, of course the Sanctuary wasn't there when he was there, but now they've got the John Denver Sanctuary right in the heart of Aspen, and it's a big sanctuary. And a few years ago, when I had a nonprofit called Peaceful Blue Planet Foundation, we donated some money to buy one of the big granite boulders that they cut in half and then they polish it and they inscribe John Denver's lyrics.
Wow. That
And
is cool.
yeah, one of those was paid for by our foundation. So
Outstanding.
again, another connection to that. I've had the chance to meet Annie. I've had the chance to meet Cassandra, his second wife, and Jesse and their kids, and Worked with Ron Dutchendorf briefly at Windstar Foundation. I was the musical director for their summer camp for a short time. So I've gotten to know people and some of his artists that he worked with, Jim Horn and Bill Danoff and uh, Steve Weisberg. Had a chance to sit down and play with those guys and share the stage with them. And for me, that's pretty magical.
That is that. I'll bet you really felt something when you were playing with them.
Yeah. Uh, the longer we've done this, the less, I don't want to say magical, but the less blown away I am um, by some of the artists. And this year up in Aspen, we are going to have um, Mac Bailey and Chris, oh, excuse me. I have a bug crawling up my arm here. And sorry about that. Didn't mean to undress for the camera. But Chris Knoll and Mac Bailey and a local musician are going to share the stage Friday night, and then we'll do our show Saturday night with my band. But it's been interesting to get to know them and to just get a little feel for what it's like to stand on stage with that caliber of music, especially in terms of music history. You know,
Hmm.
Bill Danoff wrote Country Roads, and that song is probably as big as You Are My Sunshine was back in the early 1900s. I think that song is going to be an American icon for years to come, maybe 100 years to come. It's a song.
I think you're spot on. It
Yeah.
absolutely is an icon song. So, well, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out to talk
Yeah.
to me today. Um, it has been a pleasure. I look forward to hearing you play. I love learning about John Denver and all of your knowledge, and I know that my audience will too. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment on did you see John Denver? Have you seen Chris Collins on the tribute band? If you have any questions for me or for Chris, I can certainly get those along to him. Leave those in the comments. And I really appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. You have a great day, okay?
All right. Thanks for having me. It was
All
fun.
right. Tribute Band Central. Take care.